All right, good morning. I'm here with Mike from the Oil Tank Sweep NJ LLC at my Ewing property. Today we're going to be conducting a sweep of the property to see if there's any oil tank buried underground. So hi Mike, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm just going to have you guys walk with me as I start here. We're here in Ewing, New Jersey doing an underground oil tank sweep. And I'm just going to start as I'm inspecting here, explaining why I'm here, why you have to do an oil tank sweep, why your lawyer, real estate agent told you had to come out here and get this done. New Jersey has specific laws on underground oil tanks. Now, when an oil tank is removed from underneath the ground, if it's leaking, it's very expensive to clean it up. Sometimes you can't even tell how much it's going to cost until you start digging. That's why your lawyer told you to get this done so you're not on the hook for $10, $15, $20,000 in a cleanup cost.
So what are you looking for now, Mike? The furnace?
Yeah, so when I'm starting an oil tank sweep, I come in, first thing I do is I take a look at the furnace. I'm looking for copper lines, usually 3/8 to 1/2 inch outside diameter, which differentiates it a little bit from a regular water line. If I could find one, I try to trace it out to the area outside, or maybe an above ground tank.
Okay.
Here in Ewing, there's no basement in this particular house. So we're up in the second floor right now. If you want to come in here and take a look. So you got your hot water heater.
Okay.
You got forced hot air. I'm not seeing any lines.
Okay.
I'm not seeing any signs of oil.
Okay. I can show you where the furnace is. It's actually on the first floor.
Okay. We'll go
Okay.
to
All right. So nothing up here. So Mike, how many of these sweeps do you guys do a week?
We do about 100, 120 a month.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, we're locating the furnace, which is right here.
All right. So if you can see right here, you have your gas line going into the furnace.
Okay.
And then I'm looking in and around the concrete. Sometimes you'll see little lines poking up.
Okay.
Let's see what we got here. I'll have to take that off later. It's bolted in.
Okay.
But so in many cases, the two lines that are leading out to, if there is an oil tank, will be embedded in the concrete slab.
Okay.
So you'll see them coming up either right outside or right inside. If there's an active oil tank, you'll see the lines going in where the gas is now going in.
Okay.
Not seeing anything here.
All right.
So I'll begin my sweep outside.
Great. All right. I'm going to follow Mike to the outside. Can you tell us a little bit about, look at this detector. What kind of detector is that, and why is that different than a typical metal detector?
Okay, so this is the Fisher TW6 magnetic locator. Your regular metal detector, it's not going to be effective for an oil tank sweep. This reaches down to about 10 feet underneath the ground.
Okay.
These two boxes originally used for a cable and pipe locator. You can take them off of this pole, attach one end to a pipe, and trace that pipe up to 100 yards. Now when you add this pole in between, it's just the right distance apart to pick up on large underground masses. It
Okay.
won't send you on a wild goose chase
Sure.
with small lines in the yard.
Okay.
Now this is a little bit of an older model, but it's still the standard
Okay.
for oil tank sweeps.
All right. Now, does it actually, obviously, detect anything below driveways and concrete blocks?
It does. Now the TW6 magnetic locator is about 30% of the tools you need to do an oil tank sweep.
Okay.
The other 70% is experience and knowledge.
Sure.
If you don't, and you haven't done an oil tank removal, it's very hard to do an oil tank sweep because this thing will pick up on metal underneath the ground. But if you don't know the extenuating factors, 30 feet from the furnace, usually 4 by 6, could be an abandoned tank with sand cutting the top and that'll not pick up during that area.
Okay.
All these factors come into play that you got to have experience to be able to detect.
Sure. How long have you been in the business?
This has been my life. You know, I started when I was probably early 20s, and I started out with a company, a guy, an old timer. He had taught me really well, and then I noticed that a lot of oil tank removal companies were just. Let me interrupt you real quick.
Sure.
So right here, I have the sound turned off on my locator.
Okay.
I focus on the gauge. Usually if there's a tank that I pick up on, it'll be at 100 for a 4x6 area.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started out when I was around 20, and I noticed many oil tank removal companies were too busy doing removals to get sweeps done in a timely fashion. So I started a company that just specializes in oil tank sweeps.
And does your company do removal as well?
We have a separate section of the company that does the removals. We have a dedicated team that just does. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm looking ground surface. I'm looking foundation of the house.
Okay.
I'm looking for any obvious signs of an oil tank.
Okay.
That would be an obvious sign of an oil tank would be a vent pipe,
Okay.
a fill pipe, which are both unique. Okay, so right here I got an area that I'm hitting at about 100. But it's not large enough of an area to be an oil tank.
What could that be possibly sometimes that you guys have seen?
Possibly a larger drain line,
Okay.
possibly a drainage pit, something of the sort.
So how do you know if something is more definitive? Is it by the size of the area?
It's experience, you know, after you remove so many tanks and you go over so many tanks with the magnetic locator, you get an idea for the size and how the machine reacts, and you know the factors. Like this area right here, a little too far away to pull from the furnace. Now if that furnace was pulling a tank out here, the burner on the furnace would have been gone a long time ago.
All right.
I had a client last week in Rahway, New Jersey, who didn't want to spend the money for an oil tank sweep. He didn't want to do it. His lawyer made him do it.
And don't tell me you guys found something.
We found not one, we found two.
Oh.
We found 2 1,000-gallon tanks. If they're both leaking, he bought that property, he would have looked at probably somewhere close to $40,000 in.
So how do you know, like when you clean up, if the soil is actually contaminated?
If the what?
If the soil is contaminated.
Okay, so when we remove a tank, the township inspector has to come out.
Okay.
When the tank is removed, we wait until the inspector shows up and passes or fails based off of if the soil is dirty or not.
Okay.
Now their typical way of, the standard way of determining whether it's dirty or not for an inspector is to maybe smell it, you know. You'll smell it as soon as you lift that tank up. Now the more scientific way of doing it is there's a machine called a PID.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a photoionization detector.
Right.
What it is it reads the vapors of the soil.
Okay.
See that right here, I'll pick up, but it'll jump. You'll get a short flash because of the rebar in the concrete.
Okay.
Now, if there was a tank underneath here,
Okay.
which sometimes I come across, it would be solid throughout the 4x6.
Okay, got it. So if the ground is covered with snow and ice, what do you guys typically do? Do you usually have to wait for another day to come out, or
we
that?
We bundle up.
So that shouldn't be an issue. Thank goodness. We've had a.
We bundle up, and then usually what I do before I step out in the snow and the ice is, one, I turn the machine up so that the area right that the snow is covering, I make up for in the distance. And actually working in the snow and the ice it helps you cover the ground a little better because your tracks are being marked.
Oh,
You can
true,
see
true.
exactly where you were.
Okay. I didn't know that makes a difference or not.
Yeah,
to
now
accuracy.
when in the snow or the ice, because I can't see the ground surface as well as if it wasn't.
Right.
When I pick up on an area, what I do is I'll take a pole and I'll put the pole down on the ground to make sure I'm not picking up on like a chicken wire fence,
Right.
left in the yard.
Oh, good.
Now, as alright, same thing over here. I would get a jump because of the rebar in the concrete.
Okay.
Now, as an investor or a home buyer, I get the question and I get the response that it's a new house, brand new house. There can't be any oil tanks here. They never put it in the ground. And I'll go out to these properties in Princeton, or I'll go out to properties in Howell, brand new construction, and I'm walking the yard and I'll pick up on something and nobody can believe that there's an oil tank there, but you never know what was built on a property.
That's true. That's
before
very,
we show
very
up.
true.
And even though it's new construction, there could be an old oil tank from an existing house.
So just because you have an oil tank above ground, it doesn't mean that they didn't have one below it before? Is that pretty typical?
So whenever I see an above ground tank, the first thing that I think is, where's the below ground? At the time that they were putting in oil tanks, which was not on record until like the 1990s,
Right.
it's considered a fire hazard to keep an above ground tank.
Okay. Okay.
If you look out of my truck over there, that's Curtis, the oil tank sniffing dog.
I didn't see the dog. He's so quiet.
He's part bloodhound,
Yeah.
and he is in training to sniff for.
Wow, that is cool.
In the military they have the explosive detection. They go up to 40 feet below ground.
All right.
I said, why not do it with oil?
That is awesome.
All right.
Now, is there anything that you also look from the outside? I know you were looking for the inside for the pipes coming in, but I guess if it's not, then
Yeah, so
there's
as
nothing to worry
I
about.
explained before, when I'm walking the yard, I'm looking for vent pipes and I'm looking for fill pipes. Now, in most cases, they're up against the foundation of the house, and they're unique in appearance. Now, the cap on a fill pipe will usually say oil. There's usually a certain look to it.
Right.
And the vent pipe will usually have a certain mushroom cap that's unique to an oil tank.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be up against the house. My recommendation to any investor or buyer, well, one is to get an oil tank sweep. But
Sure.
if you were going to the house for the first time, you want to look on the foundation of the house. You want to look in and around the yard for any vent pipes or fill pipes. If you're not sure what that is, just Google it. It'll
Okay,
show you a picture
great.
of what it is.
All right. I think that's about it, right? So any final words before we
so
conclude?
this is what I had found here. The only part of the yard where I'm coming up with a reading is over in the front over there. And as I
Okay.
explained before, that reading is way too small to be an underground oil tank.
Okay.
So what I do from here is I just write up a report.
Okay,
You'll
great.
have it emailed to you the same day.
Okay.
And then you can move forward with your sale.
Okay, great. So, just as a final question, what areas? I know you're located in Central New Jersey. What areas do you serve?
We're located in Edison, but we work throughout the state.
Okay.
We have a crew of guys that just do sweeps.
Okay.
Nothing more. So
Okay.
we cover most of New Jersey.
Okay, great. I will publish Mike's and his company's information. But if you guys ever need anybody to sweep, this is a guide to go to.
Thank
All right,
you.
Thank you.